Kingsley. Mr. Kingsley is a seasoned business analyst with years of experience. He has a successful implementation of Odoo and Zoho ERP for several organizations, as well as TOGAF, which stands for Enterprise Architecture Framework, ISO 23001, ISO 9001, and ISO 27001, amongst other organizational development training programs. So please put your hands together in welcoming our trainer for today, Mr. Kingsley. Mr. Kingsley, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, please. I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You can take over the class from here now.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to have all of us on the call. I believe today has been going so well for us, and we're going to take the next session. I also believe that so many of us was around in the last meeting I took, or the last training that I took. All right, so once again, I welcome us all. Let me try to share my screen. A minute, please. I hope I am audible enough. Hope you can hear me, everyone.
Yes, you are audible enough.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. Kindly let me know if you can see my screen, please.
Not yet. I can't see your screen just yet.
Oh, okay. How about now?
Okay, now I can see your screen.
All right.
Analysis, I can see your screen now.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold on, please. Let me make it bold enough for us. Okay. All right. So we'll be looking at business analysis, and the main part or the main aspect of business analysis that we'll be talking about today is analyzing and managing stakeholders. Okay, I'm trying to do full screen. I don't know why it's sort of hanging. All right, beautiful. So I talked about explaining or defining business analysis to us that we are problem solvers, we are solution providers, and in providing solutions for organizations, for clients, it is very key that we understand who our stakeholders are. Right? We understand who they are. We get to manage them properly. Carrying out proper analysis of who our stakeholders are and managing them properly is very key for a successful project delivery, as it is, right? So we'll be looking at analyzing and management of our stakeholders. So when we effectively manage our stakeholders, it is very important that we do that for our project or for the business analysis project to be very successful, right? So we need to know who these people are, who are our stakeholders. We get to understand what it is they expect from that project that you are in or that you're part of, right? And you need to understand the solution that, they need to understand the solution that you have provided for them. So it is very, very important that we understand our stakeholders. We get to manage them properly, understand who they are, understand what they expect from us as BAs. because like I said, I keep saying it, I'll keep reminding us that we are problem solvers, we are solution providers. And it is very key that we engage our stakeholders. We get to understand what they want, what problem they want to solve. And they also have an expectation of that solution that you're providing, right? So managing them will lead to the success of that project as it is, right? Yeah, so stakeholders are crucial for project success, very, very key, because there's nobody that will explain that problem to you. It's just the stakeholders. This is what we want you to do for us. This is what we are expecting. Okay, some will not even tell you at first this is what they're expecting. However, in the project initiation, there will be some kind of, okay, this is what we need. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. In the gap assessment, you also, understanding their gaps. What are those things? What are the things they are lacking in the organization, right? So you get to put all of these things together. There are different stakeholders, so understanding each of them, their persona, because all of this will help you to, put together your meetings with them, how to approach them, how to put your words. It is very key that we do proper analysis and management of our stakeholders. Because poor stakeholder management causes failures. Truly, you will struggle. If you don't get to manage your stakeholders properly, you struggle. Some will want to frustrate you. Some will want to, how do I even say it? So I want to make the project like waiting this person they talk. Truly they will put you into stress and maybe delay the success of the project. But it is expected of us to understand them and also see how to manage them properly. We need to identify them, understand them, and also give them the expected expectation, right? So much of the groundwork for stakeholder management takes place during project initiation and inception of this work must be revisited constantly as the project progresses. Right. So it is very key, right? So let's say I bring 20 of us to join me in a project. Of course, we don't just need to, we'll have a project to do or to take care of, and to just get into doing the project. There needs to be series of interview sessions, series of meeting and conversation with the stakeholders. Because that's where we get to understand them. In the initiation of the project, at the very first point of initiation, we get to meet with the stakeholders, we get to interact with them, introduce the project, and get to talk about the milestones, the timelines, and all of that. So getting feedback in introduction of who they are, maybe there's somebody from the client end that would like to tell us who the stakeholders are, the expectations, and all of that. So it is key for us to put them together by conversation, introduction, and all that to get to understand who these people are. We get to identify them respectively. Okay, this is the project manager from the client end. This is, we just get to put into perspective who these people are and how the project will go, right? So the life cycle sits within this diagram right here. In the inception or initiation of the project, we get to identify the stakeholders. We get to analyze the stakeholders, analysis, strengths, and all of that. The role they play in the project and all of that, right? So we get to, devise a strategy of how we can manage these people. I've done a project that some of the stakeholders are not available during the day. In fact, we get to sit on the call in the night from 10 p.m. till like 12. You don't need to shy away or get to push that it doesn't work for me. I need to be with my family. I need to be sleeping. That's right. So you see, that is where all of these things come into play. You get to understand who they are, how they work, how they react, how they interact, right? So you devise a strategy of managing them. So while the project is being executed, you need to review the strategies. You need to look at them again, revise them, and ensure that you're delivering value, because that is the main purpose of the engagement. Solution provision, value proposition, which is very key as BAs. All right. So we also need to categorize our stakeholders. In categorizing them, you need to understand who they are. They are not really, or they are not the company owners alone, right? The stakeholders involve the partners of the organization or the project, the suppliers, the regulators, the employees, the managers, the customers, the competitors. All of this makes up the stakeholders, right? So what are the suppliers supplying? Are they really supplying the right? Because yes, you need to meet with them to understand what they are doing or who they are and all of that. Who are the regulators, right? Of course, the employees that will properly use the solution that you're providing, and all of that. So we need to understand all of these people and see how best to manage them to deliver value, right? So we need to, in analyzing stakeholders, we need to understand how to use the power interest grid. So you need to classify your stakeholders according to the power they have in the project and the interest also they have in the project, right? So we can see this diagram that is, we'll have, let me use a mathematical term, x-axis and y-axis. I believe that's not foreign to us. So let's call the power influence axis as the x-axis and the interest side as the y-axis, right? So we see that we'll have low, we'll have some, we'll have high for both the x-axis and the y-axis. What I mean is x-axis power and the influence axis. So the power, like people that have more power for the project or in the project, right? The interest is their interest. So if you see the arrow is going up and the y-axis is also going further. So low and high power, low and high interest in the project, right? I just believe that we are getting these things clear. Am I communicating? Please, I need your reaction. Am I being too fast? Please, I need feedback.
The pace is okay. You're not rushing, and I understand what you're saying.
All right. So let me get to hear from others on the call. Please, you can use the chat box. Are we good? Any question? Am I being too fast? Okay, thank you, Isaac. Thank you very much. Oh, so let me proceed. So the high power or influence. Okay, the pace is okay. Thank you very much, sir. All right, high power plus high interest indicates that we need to manage them closely. These are the people that are more interested. In fact, let me say the business owners, like the people that are very key to have that solution that you're to provide. So we need to manage them closely. They have high power. Following the arrow, like it is high. Then the y-axis, high interest. They have high power, sponsorship, finance, commitment, and all of that, right? And they are very interested to see that this solution provides value. So you need to manage them closely. You need to communicate each step to them. You need to ensure that you carry them along. In fact, all the engagement, interview session, every bit of the step. They need to be aware. They need to know what you're doing at every point in time. So we have the low power, low interest. So these people, they do not have much of the power, and they are pretty much not interested. Probably, let's look at, let's call them the end users. So their own is waiting concerning. Oh yeah, now, Shebi, we are looking to have this. Make the do now, no wahala. Do you understand? Like they really do not have that power or in the project to say, okay, do this or do that. However, you need to monitor them, because you don't know how something might change tomorrow, that one of them will be pushed into the high power axis, right? So you see that you need to monitor them. You need to also carry them along, give them feedback and all of that, right? Yeah, so this is the proper grid chart, the interest, power and interest grid chart. This is, yeah, this explains better. All right, so we can see down to, on the x-axis, we have high power, low interest. So they have the power, right? They have the decisive power. They have the, in fact, top management. Let me use that word, right? The top management not really interested.
Of the battery. So that's number one maintenance. Hello, Mr. Kingsley. Can you hear me? And the second maintenance will definitely have to be cleaning out the terminal. I think there's a network glitch with Mr. Kingsley's network. So let's just give him a minute or two to come back. So while we wait, if you're yet to join the Telegram group, the link will be sent to the chat box so that you can get the materials of the classes and the recorded version of the YouTube, like the recorded classes, and also to be able to do your tests or your assessments, because your assessments are supposed to be done on or before Friday to the next class. So for this class, this Saturday's class, the assessments will be out on Monday. So you are supposed to do the assessment from Monday to Friday. So anytime you know you can slot it in and make sure you do your assessment from Mondays to Friday. Once it's above Friday, I'm not sure you'll be able to do your assessment anymore. You would have to wait for the next class. So let me see if Mr. Kingsley has joined us back. Okay, I think he's back. Let me make him a quote. All right, Mr. Kingsley, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Sorry, my network just went off like that.
Oh, all right, no problem.
All right. Sorry, everyone, for the breaking transmission. I'm very sorry. All right. I hope I'm good and you can see my screen right now.
Yes, I can see your screen. You can proceed.
All right. Thank you very much. So the people with the high power, low interest, we'll just keep a watch on them, give them feedback, ensure that we follow up on them in every step that we take in the course of the project. So there are people that have some powers and some interest. Some powers, some interest, right? On this column, some power, some interest. So we need to ensure that, sorry, high power and some interest. Sorry, don't get me wrong, right? Of course, they have the high power, and there are some sort interested, somehow they're interested. So you need to ensure that you keep them satisfied. Proper engagement, proper documentation, proper feedback, because they have the power. But yeah, I believe they will do them. They fit do them. Yeah, they'll definitely do it. So yes, they are not really. I need 100% steps as you're going, right? These people just have some kind of interest. However, we can see that we have the ones of high power and high interest. So these are the key people that you need to work with, key people that you need to make sure that they are properly updated, send proper documents, and use them in every meeting. Make sure that they are understanding or every aspect of the project. All right, there are these people also that they have some kind of powers, and they are pretty much not interested. In fact, they don't have low or high interest. We just need to keep them on the side. It's not like you are going to neglect them in the project. We just need to keep them on the side, give them follow-up feedback and assist, right? So there are also this set of people that have low power, right? Low power, low interest, low power, high interest, right? So they have low power, low interest. You don't need to entirely ignore them, right? Because stakeholders does change. So while in the course of the project, one of us might jackpot, and the project will not just hang there because the person is not there. Some people's roles will be changed in the project, right? So while you're ignoring them, you still need to keep them informed, right? Because some also, regardless they have low power, they are somehow interested and they have high interest, right? So we need to keep them informed, keep them updated as the project goes. Are we good? All right. So to match this strategy to the power and interest level, low, update them occasionally. So what I mean by low is low interest, low power and low interest. You just need to update them occasionally, because like I said, you can't tell. Edith might travel out of the country or maybe get busy with something, and Edith might not really be involved in the project, or Messi, right? So we can have okay, yeah, while we are using Edith as an example, right? So Messi is there. So Messi has to sit into Edith position, and when Messi is lost entirely and not being updated, right? She might not follow through, or she will struggle to catch up on where the project is. That's why we need to update them occasionally, right? For those that have high interest, low power, we need to inform them and involve them in every step that we take, in every solution that we're providing, in all the meetings that we are supposed to have. We need to inform them and also involve them, because their interest is high, but they might not have that decisive power, or the entire power to stop the project or to do otherwise in the course of the project, right? So we now have some people that have high power, low interest. They are the people bringing out the money. They have the high power. They will say, okay, we are not going to disburse XYZ for whatsoever that you have proposed, right? However, they have low interest. They don't care so much, right? Because yeah, you go down, all those kind of energy, right? However, you need to keep them satisfied, because when they are not satisfied, they don't get to support you or stuff like that. Are we good? Yeah, I have a chart. Let me see. Okay. All right, Isaac, thank you. All right. So yeah, so that is how it works. So stakeholders change. Oh, right. I said that before now. It does change. You can't tell. It's not cast in stone till the end of the project. The roles can change. It can shift. We can have somebody taking this position or this role in the next minute, right? So analysis must be ongoing to remain effective. you need to keep analyzing, you need to keep following through, you need to keep managing them to remain effective in the project. All right, there are certain records that is expected of us. Okay. Certain stakeholder records that we need to have at the back of our mind, which is very key for us to sit in any project properly, right? Understand the name of the person. Understand the role the person is playing in the project. Understand what power the person has in the project and the interest level of the person in the project, right? That's why we are BAs. These are things that we should do as BAs, right? Understand the issues the stakeholders are having, their attitude, right? Is he a champion in the project? Is he a neutral person? Like, we need to understand all of this. Of course, as a BA, you need to also, get to know the desired support that you require. That's how you get to manage your stakeholders properly. That's how you get to engage them to get that support, that resources, and also to deliver value to them. Because when you don't get all of this from them, from your stakeholders, you get to struggle. That value proposition might not be met, or the timeline of the project will be, affected. So we need to have this record at the back of our minds as BAs. Right. All right. So there are tools that we need to put into consideration, or that we need to know how best to use while managing stakeholders. I've shown us the power and interest grid, right? That's how you classify your stakeholders level in the project. The interest, the power and interest grid. You know who has low interest, high, low power, low interest, high power, high interest. All of that will guide how you position your meetings or your engagement with them, right? There's also a tool called Stakeholders Wheel. There's a CAT wheel, there's a RASI chart. All of this helps us manage our stakeholders properly, right? Okay, I've shown us power interest grid, and I believe that is clear enough for us to understand how to classify our stakeholders, and also that will help us manage them. Are we good? I need your reaction, please. Okay. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Banjo. All right, so that's fine. Thank you very much for following up. Okay. So let's look at the RASI chart. Okay, thank you, Festus. Thank you, Adebayo. We are good. Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. So let's proceed. Part of one of the tools to manage stakeholders properly is this RASI chart. RASI, which means responsible. So you need to know who is responsible for the project, who is accountable for the project, who should be consulted at every given time, right? Who should be informed. That's what RASI chart is. So we can see this diagram, how all of these are classified based on the project initiation, business case, project initiation, document, and all of that. So yeah, a brief explanation, right? Sometimes, a RASI chart, sometimes known as the linear responsibility matrix. This lists the main task or deliverable, right? And the various stakeholders alongside. So where a stakeholder is involved with the work to conduct a task or create a deliverable, this is indicated using one of the RASI categories. Are we good? Are we good? I'll get to explain this to us. But before I do that, let's understand what the responsible, who the person is, accountable and consulted and all of that. So the responsible, which is the R in the RASI chart, it means, oh, Lara, thank you. Lara, thank you. All right, let's just continue. We'll get to use the chat box later. Thank you, everyone. So responsible, this is the person or role responsible for creating or developing the product or performing the task. So we can see in the figure that a business analyst is responsible for creating interview notes. So we have an interview note there. We see that the business analyst is responsible, right? Okay, before we still explain all of this well, we can understand that in providing interview notes, because you will be interviewing the stakeholders, so you need to document properly, right? You need to capture all of these things. So it is your responsibility to, develop or build up that interview note, right? All right, so accountable, the person or role who will carry the can for the quality of the product or task. The project sponsor, for instance, must ultimately be accountable for the business case for a project. The project sponsor, who is this guy? So the business case, what do we want to do? What solution are we looking at? It is his or her office, or it is in the key need of that person, the key task of that person to provide that business case, right? So it is very key that the project sponsor provides or he or she is accountable for that role. All right. C means consulted, the person or role that provides information that will be imputed, or the task. He or she provides the task, like, which word will I use? They provide that information that will be imputed in the project, right? So we can see in this figure also the senior user, other business actors, and the domain experts are shown as being consulted during the interviews and workshops. So you need to consult the senior user. So let's look at or use a scenario of an ERP, or let me don't make it big, an accounting software, right? You need to consult the accountant, the chief accountant. What do you expect? What are those expectations that are looking or you're expecting? What are those things you need in this application? This is you consulting the person. Also the users, because we might have a junior accountant and every other person in the organization that will be using that application also, maybe the procurement officer and all of that. They make up the business actors or users. We see that the C in the chart, we see that the C, right, they should be consulted. Are we good? The users also needs to be consulted. The domain expert needs to be consulted, right? I believe we are getting these things clear. All right, so people that need to be informed, these stakeholders are informed about the product or the task, though they may not have contributed directly to them, right? But, they need to be informed. For example, the project sponsors, they have the right to be kept informed about any of the products being produced during the project. So you need to, of course, inform them. They need that information every minute. The project sponsor needs to be informed of your interview notes. What did you get from the interview session? You inform the project sponsor. right? Of course, you consulted in the course of your interview, you consulted the senior user, you consulted the business actors, you also consulted the domain expert. Are we good? The project manager is also accountable for this note. And you as a business analyst, is your responsibility to provide this note. Okay, let me take it from this business case. Let's go there so we don't get to miss out on any of this. So you see that the business case is the duty of the project sponsor to deliver. He should be accountable for the business case, right? The senior user should be consulted to build the business case, because part of his requirement makes up the business case. The user or the business actor should be informed about what we are going to do, or what we are going to achieve. The domain expert also, they should be consulted on how this thing should be done, right? The project manager is responsible to, put all of these things together. That's why you see that it is expected for a successful project that a business analyst works closely with the project manager for a successful project to be achieved. Of course, as a business analyst, you also need to be consulted. So for project initiation, it is expected that the sponsors, they are accountable to provide the document. The project manager is responsible to put up the initiation, initiating the project. It is the two of them. It is the responsibility for the project manager to, initiate the project document, and also the project sponsor to be accountable for it. I believe we are getting these things clearly. For the interview note, the project sponsor should be informed. All of these parties should be consulted. It is your responsibility as a BA to provide that. Note from workshop, in any of the brainstorming sessions, meetings, and all of that is your responsibility as a BA. Requirement gathering, provision of the requirements catalog is your responsibility, right? I believe this RASI chart is very clear to us as it is. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, thank you, Blessing. Thank you very much. So all of these approaches are how we can manage our stakeholders and deliver value, right? So there's this other chart that RASI, there's an S in this part. So the previous one is just ROACI. However, there's another one that is RASCI, where we get to have the support come in. We have the support coming. That's what the S means, right? That's what it stands for, support. Because in all of this, the project needs to be supported by a database administrator. All right, so this chart shown in the figure uses a similar approach, but has an additional category, S, for support. This person or the person in that role will provide assistance and sometimes resources to whoever is responsible for the product or the deliverables. So the database administrator needs to support the BA, needs to support us as BAs to ensure that we are doing the right thing that is expected, and also, delivering value at the same time. So say, for example, in the figure, the business analyst is shown as supporting the project manager. You see here, we BAs, we must support the project manager to initiate the document for the project and all of that, right? In the creation of the project initiation document, and the database administrator supports the BAs in developing the class diagram. right? So you know, when you sit with the stakeholder, project manager, and you probably put up a diagram, you might not be hitting the nail on the head without the support of the database administrator, right? So they will need to support you to put all of these things clearly for the right result. All right, so in managing these things also, social media can help us manage our stakeholders properly, because social media can boost weak stakeholders' influence. And also, we don't need to underestimate the collective power of feedback from people, comments from people, will I just use the word engagement from people as regards the stakeholder. So let's say Edith is a stakeholder, and probably I go to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, I follow up on Edith's comment. All of these things will help me understand what kind of person she is, how best I can approach her, and all of that. So social media can, you know, help in this aspect of managing stakeholders. All right, yeah. So this explains it. Social media can be an integral part of the stakeholder communication and management strategy. In addition to publicly available platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter, there are several software products that are used primarily for organization-specific communication. We all know LinkedIn. I believe pretty much all of us on this course, we have the well-packaged LinkedIn page that we get to interact with other corporate people, right? So yeah, Twitter most times, in fact, I would say Twitter is not so corporate. However, that's where all the ranks, all the happenings, you know. So of course we can go there also to see if the stakeholders are there and how they also play in that part. All of this builds your understanding of the person's persona and all that, how the person communicates and all of that. So this product supports a wide variety of functions, including direct instant messaging, collaborative working, online meetings. Yeah, of course, if I get to meet any of the stakeholders in any of the social media platforms, I can come to your DM. Probably in that moment, we can just, you know, be talking about one of the trends, maybe get to laugh about it. Probably I just call you. It might be his or her post. I'll just call, oh, this thing you posted, you know, we just get to talk. All of these things build stakeholders management. Are we good? So that's why we're having social media in this. All right, yeah. So the care, proper taking care or taking note of this of social media should this should be taken care of when considering conducting research into stakeholders through publicly available social media platforms. Like I said, it will help you understand that person properly. It will help you, you know, penetrate or build bonds. Some stakeholders are very rigid. Like you'll be in a project, like this person would just probably a family matter from the house. This person will just pour it on you in the course of that meeting. And you see that either you guys are quarreling or you just stay mute and maybe fix the meeting for next time. But all of these things going through social media, you can keep track of who this person is, how this person communicates and all that. So you reviewing the person's photographs, messaging them in their inbox is very intrusive, right? So this will just help us be able to manage these people properly. So that being said, right, researching an individual through their company website and professional networking platform may be helpful also in providing a context and background for the person, and may also provide insight into an individual's role, professional interest, network, and career history. So I can go to LinkedIn now and I'll get to see how well, how far, what you're doing. So many people are too busy to update adequately how well they are doing on LinkedIn. Some people are very active. In fact, I don't think, to be honest, let me use myself. I don't think I've posted anything lately, to be frank with you, right? Yeah, but I do come on LinkedIn, but trying to post, I've not done that in a while, to be frank with you. Right. Yeah. But I get to interact with other people. I get to, research on other people as it is. So yeah, social media is a part of it. So understanding stakeholder perspective, it is very essential to identify the stakeholder and also understand the influence that they may have on that project. It is very important to understand their attitudes, their values, and their beliefs, right? In other words, what are their perspective on the situation or the project? What are their business perspectives? Why conversing with these people? Why interacting with these people? You can tell what their stand in the project. You can tell how they react and all that. So, for example, in a commercial organization, one stakeholder might feel that any activities are allowable as long as they are not actually illegal. Whereas other stakeholders may feel that the organization has some responsibility towards society at large and therefore conclude that some activities should be avoided on ethical grounds. Are we good? So some people are actually, or that they will just feel that, what does he want to do? Should he do it? Everything, should we have this meeting? All of these things, they will feel that it is not necessary. Or since it is not illegal, just carry on. Whereas some people will feel that the responsibility towards achieving the right goal, all these activities should be put into place and all of that. So to help understand this people's perspective, and to model the different business systems that would fulfill them, some of the elements from Peter Checkland's software system methodology can be utilized. So there's what we call, or there's what Peter Checkland called a soft system methodology. We mentioned some tools. We mentioned project interest. There's a CAT rule, which is part of what Peter Checkland soft system methodology is talking about. So we can see the, let me call this a flow chart or a breakdown or a diagram that explains Peter Checkland's soft system methodology concept. So this is a business analysis soft system methodology concept. The number one is talking about a real world situation to be explored. Right? This is just a concept. Right? And it drives us to stakeholders' perspective on the situation and the organization. To understand the real world situation that you need to explore, you also get to know the stakeholders' perspective on the situation and the organization, and also the conceptual models based on the perspectives of the stakeholder. Right? Then you get to compare the models with real world situations. And at the end of the day, you're defining the actions that you need to improve the situation. Is this clear? Do we get this? What is the situation to be explored? What is the problem to be, the solution to be provided? To provide this solution, you need to understand the stakeholders' perspective. You need to understand them in the context of that project, right? Also, there should be models to, conceptualize the perspective or to put into perspective the stakeholders engagement, if I'll use that word. They need to compare the models of the situation that you're to provide. So if you see the arrows, they are linking or branching out from each other. Are we good? And at the end of the day, you're defining the actions that is needed. All right, so I told you that this concept speaks volume to this tool. I mentioned this tool while we are looking at the different tools for stakeholder management. So the soft system methodology provides us with a very useful tool that we can use to explore the stakeholder's perspective, although the technique is known as CATO, right? Which shows, which experience shows that exploring the CATO element is actually best done in the following order, right? Where W stands for worldwide, transformation, customer, actors, owners, and the environment, right? Your customers, the actors, the transformation that is expected, right? The world that, accepts or will definitely buy in or use the solution, right? The real owners of the solution and also the environment that it plays. So this diagram is a contrasting perspectives for Rakes Refreshments. Rakes Refreshments is an organization or pretty much a business, right? So we have two people with their own perspective in how the business should go or what you're expecting in the business. So the first person, Karen, and the
Sorry,
other person, Jason.
excuse me,
Yes.
Mr. Kingsley. Sorry to disturb your chain of thoughts. We have about 7 minutes more, so I'm just trying to let you know. I'm sorry
All right.
for
All right.
pressing.
Thank you very much. All right. We're just almost done. All right. So we can look at this figure or this diagram to look at these people's perspective following this tool called the CAR tool, right? So Karen is telling us that customers that we should establish regular customers who appreciate a personal touch, right? Whereas Jason is saying that anyone who is willing to buy drinks from Race should buy. But Karen is like, we should give a personal touch, probably package it properly, or carry out proper advert for customers to really buy into it. Whereas Jason is just saying, Omo, who won't buy, may buy. That's like, do you understand? These are different perspectives, right? So for the actors, Karen is saying that knowledgeable sales and customer service staff who develop long-term relationship with customers. So Karen is saying that this the sales rep or the salespeople should have proper knowledge so they can package this business, engage their customers properly for a long-term relationship, right? Whereas Jason is saying that the sales team, they should set their targets and try to meet their targets and all of that. So for transformation, repeat selling of soft drinks to long-term customers, and this guy is saying that proactive sales of soft drinks to customers. So these are just different perspectives. The world view from Karen's side is success in the soft drink trade results to establishing close link with customers. Whereas this guy is telling you that success in the soft drinks trade results from aggressive selling. So you see these people's perspective. All right. So, but this tool is one of the tools that we can use to understand customers, stakeholders, understanding in the project, how we can build stakeholders initiative, understanding, expectation in the project, right? So these are tools that we can use to carry out this management of our stakeholders. So in summary, effective stakeholder management is key to the success of any business analyst project. It should begin before the project starts, at the inception stage, and be continued throughout the project, and even afterwards, to ensure that the changes are implemented effectively. Although the project manager has the key responsibility in this area, all team members have roles to play. So as a BA, it is expected that in a project, we need to, understand who our stakeholders are, manage them properly, even from the start of the project, as the project is going on, and afterward, because that satisfied stakeholder or client will give you your next job, will refer you to the next business that needs your service. So it is expected that we keep these people in line. Of course, we'll have a project manager for that project that does probably all the meetups, all the engagement, relationship building, and all of that. But it's key that a BA will also do all of this. So a good stakeholder management will help us to reduce risk in the project. It will help us build support and also ensure the success of the project. Are we good? Any question? Any contribution? Can we get that at this point? Hello, people. Are we good? I need your questions. I need your contributions.
I think there's a question in the chat box. Do we have classes for stakeholders when there are conflicting stakeholders' interests? How do you take a stand?
So if I get this, yeah, it showed us the power interest grid chart, right? So classifying them is your engagement to get to understand the business, understand the project you're to do, engaging the stakeholders. You now get to classify. You can decipher who has the high power and high interest, right? The low power, low interest, right? That power interest grid chart will help you in classifying them. I don't know if you're good. So the ones that have the high power and the high interest are your main people. You need to ensure that you manage them closely. Ensure you follow up with them closely. Meetings, updates, milestones, tasks, deliverables, all of that. So that chart will help you in classifying in classifying your stakeholders and as well managing them adequately. I don't know if that answers your question, sir. Isaac. Hello, Isaac. Are we clear? All right. Okay. Thank you, please. Any other question? Hello, people. I need your questions. It is almost time. Please, can I get one more question or contribution or reaction? Oh, the second question is not answered. Yeah. How to take a stand? Is that the question? How to take a stand? When there are conflicting stakeholders, how do you take a stand? All right, so you taking a stand is you're not backing out from the project, though. So your stand should be patience, right? So there are competencies of a BA, which I shared in the last class, right? So be patient with them. No matter the conflict that will come in the project, know what you're doing, know the solution you're to provide, and try to pitch or communicate properly to your stakeholders. That's your stand. You won't fight, no, at all. You won't get to conflict or quarrel them or have issues. You just take it easy, take it calm, regardless the pressure they are coming with. Just ensure you're communicating. You have your documentations properly. That is your own means of communicating. And they will have no other option than to flow with you.
All right.
All right.
Very much, Mr. Kingsley. That was a very insightful one. And I'm sure everybody really enjoyed that class. Kindly appreciate Mr. Kingsley by giving him a round of applause or reacting to the comment box. This was a very lovely session. And without wasting more time, we'll be moving to the next.